Good morning. This is Elan Wurtzel. I'm the chairperson of the Planview-Old Bethpage Chamber of Commerce SpringFest 2022. And we have with us today Doug Cormack from Orchard Estate of Woodbury. How you doing, Doug?
I'm good, Elan. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Just want to thank you once again for your silver sponsorship of SpringFest. We're looking forward to a great event. And I hear it's going to be sunny on May 22nd. So, it's going to be a big day.
Excellent. Excellent. We look forward to it as well. We're happy to be a part of the project.
Beautiful. We're going to take a few minutes this morning to talk to you about Orchard Estate of Woodbury, what you guys do, what you do, what makes you tick. So, you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So Doug, tell us, what Orchard Estate is and what makes it special.
Sure. So we are an assisted living residence or assisted living community here in Woodbury, right off of Woodbury Road. We care for folks that have both assisted living needs, but then also memory care needs as well. When we're full, we'll have 102 residents living with us. We're still approaching that as we're a fairly new property. And of that 102, we'll be serving 32 residents with memory care needs, and that environment is actually fully occupied at this time. So we're currently caring for 32 folks with memory care needs, in addition to those within our assisted living community.
Now, Orchard Estate is a relatively newcomer to the community. When did you guys open your doors?
So we opened in September of 2019. And so now I think we're just over really, approaching the 2.5 year mark, open and operating in Woodbury.
Okay. So just in time for the start of the pandemic.
Yes, timing was quite interesting for sure.
What kind of challenges, were you confronted with because of COVID and the pandemic?
Sure. I think there are obviously many different challenges for many different providers. One that was unique to us is that we were only open for about 5 months when the pandemic had really kind of started or made its way to us. And so challenges that we had is we were a very new community and a small community. I think at the time we had less than 40 residents that were living with us. That turned out to be a benefit to us. There was about a 6 to 8 month period of time where we were not introducing new folks to the residents. So we had the ability to distance a little bit easier than maybe others did because we had a large property and not a lot of people living within it. So, that was one unique part of the process. We did some other creative things along the way and ended up doing a great job of keeping the people in our community safe. Mm-hmm. And then put us in a good position once we were able to reopen to then start to introduce new folks back to our community again.
All right, well, it's good to hear. So you're a relative newcomer to the community. What triggered, the selection of this area for Orchard Estate? What features did it have that said, hey, we got to be here?
Sure. For a number of years, the Woodbury market specifically, I think when we broke ground and operated, we were still the very first assisted living community in Woodbury. And so for a number of years, the immediate market, whether it's Woodbury, surrounding areas such as Planview and others, were really underserved for the senior population. So there were a couple folks, a couple providers that were here and doing great, but the information in the local area supported and showed that there was an absolute need to care for seniors in this area. And specifically, what we found is when we opened, even more so, there was a real true need for memory care support and memory care services. Mm-hmm. And so we found that when we opened, our memory care community filled rather quickly as a result. And being 2.5 years open, 8 months of that time with during a pandemic where we weren't allowed to introduce anyone to our, move anybody in, we're approaching the 90% occupied mark at this point in time. So I think that shows that there is absolutely a need. There's been other newcomers and new providers that have opened just prior to us and just after, and I believe that they're doing fairly well also from an occupancy perspective. So I think for all of those reasons, it was somewhat of an untapped market with a lot of need to support aging folks in this local area.
What's the average age of the resident in your facility currently?
Sure. It's a great question. And it does vary. When you first open as a community, typically you're a little bit younger in population because your residents haven't aged in place over time.
Right.
What we found now that we're open for about 2.5 years, the average age is about 89, and that's pretty consistent. That's pretty consistent with industry standards and what you would find throughout. Generally between 87 and 89 is the average age. That said, our oldest resident is 107 and our youngest resident is 58. So, there's a wide group and a wide range there, but certainly it makes for a really interesting community of residents for sure.
And, if I'm a resident at your facility, what kind of, what would I be doing there on a daily basis? What kind of activities are there? Can I go out of the place? Or can I have people visit me? What's it
Absolutely.
like?
You're doing a lot, right? So you're doing our days start with daily group exercise. We're introducing things like yoga and Tai Chi to our programs. We have often live entertainment in our community. We have clubs and groups and things of that nature as well. Mm-hmm. And so those things are happening consistently throughout the course of the day, and that doesn't even mention our dining experience with, our restaurant style dining program as well. So the community has been really active and vibrant, even through that period of time that we were managing kind of the dark days of the pandemic as an organization. And then specifically as our location here, we were able to really find a balance between to avoid isolation for our residents, but then being able to socialize safely. Right. Especially with the rollout of vaccines and testing availability and things of that nature. Our residents have had visitors for, consistent ongoing for a very long time. We've had group programs consistent ongoing for a very long time. Our dining program has not been impacted or affected for quite some time as well. So yes, we're not quite back to where we were before. However, we're very close. And we've done a really good job of balancing safety with socialization and all of those things that are important.
Doug, I would imagine that Long Island, we've heard, is aging. The older population continues to grow, and let's say I'm someone that's interested in selling my home and doing something different, age appropriate. Why am I coming to your place versus any other place that might be on Long Island near where I currently live?
Sure. Great question. So
listen, I have to tell you, I only ask great questions.
Yes.
I tell every student.
Yes. So there's a couple of reasons, right? I think the one that jumps out at you right away is that we're a new construction, newly developed property, right? So that's kind of your first impression. We have absolutely beautiful design. There's a lot of thought that was put into what we did and how we built our property. It's purpose built for assisted living residents with a really nice blend of modern and contemporary design, right? So when you walk into our community, it's vibrant, it's lively, you feel good, right? It's bright, it's the lights are shining through, and you really do have a good feeling. I think all of us in the industry, in the field, have great things to offer. What I find that makes our community unique or great is just the people that are in it. I think and what we've certainly learned through the most challenging times of any of our careers in the last couple of years is that the people that are here working and caring for seniors are here for the right reasons. If anything, there have been a lot of reasons for people to no longer work in this space. And those that are still here are here for the right reasons, and that goes for us or anywhere else. But I think the people in our community that are working here, the residents and their family members, you just have a great feel and a great vibe about the community, and I think those are the real reasons why where you should choose a place to live, right? Whether it's for yourself or your loved ones, is the connection you're making, the feel that you have with the people that you're interacting with over time as you're trying to make a decision. So
you obviously have a passion for your work, and I'm sure that gets translated, to everyone at Orchard Estate. So that's a great thing to know about you guys. What do you see as the most challenging part of the work that you do at Orchard Estate?
So it's really quite interesting, right? My role specifically as the administrator has changed drastically since the early, since the pandemic, right? So generally in assisted living environment as an administrator, you do have a lot more opportunities to connect with residents and family members and the staff, right? And that's one of the differences between an administrator in a nursing home facility versus that in an assisted living facility. You have more connection. During the pandemic, with the changes in regulations and guidelines and policies and things of that nature coming from the Department of Health and others, it really has kind of taken away some of my time, in that regard that I used to be able to spend. So that's been the most challenging to adjust to, but I do hope that we're getting back to that. But then in terms of an overall approach, not just myself, but others, I think we're balanced between meeting the residents' needs and their wants, right? Balanced with what our regulations and governing bodies require of us. And then also understanding that we serve a lot of different people. So one resident that moves in with us may have 2 or 3 adult children. And everyone likely has different goals, right? The residents themselves and their 2 or 3 adult children. And our job, which is one of the reasons why we like it so much, is so challenging in that we have to meet the needs of all of those folks. So, when we're full, we'll have 102 residents, we'll have about 120 employees, and then you can add another 2 on average adult children caring for their loved one that lives here. You're approaching 400 to 500 people that you're serving, and everyone's different. So it's the most challenging part of the role. However, it's the most fun part. Also, you get to meet a lot of really interesting people, and you get to really challenge yourself in many ways. So,
Doug, I'm a 25-year-old kid, just graduated from college, let's say, trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. What are the career opportunities that might be available at Orchard Estate or in your industry?
So that's a great topic. And I think one that as an industry, we all need to focus on, right? There's some of the best employees that we have in our community right now are fit that demographic, right? And there are so many options and opportunities, and it gives folks an opportunity to, like, for example, we have 2 or 3 new college grads that started out as our front desk full-time receptionists, right? And that gives them an opportunity to learn about our community and our business and where they want to focus and what path they want to choose within our building, our community, or also within our company. We have multiple different departments and layers within the property itself that gives people great opportunities to grow and develop. I think that the easiest one that you can pick out is starting out in the nursing field. Whether it's an LPN, RN, that sort of thing. We have case managers, some of which come from a social worker background. There's a lot of leadership opportunities as well. So the opportunities range from programming, dining, hospitality, maintenance, sales, you name it. There's the opportunity for sure. And we welcome all potential candidates.
A common theme from many of our sponsors is that a successful business operation requires a lot of different people with a lot of different skill sets, and you just illustrated that perfectly. I want to shift gears here a little bit, and why don't you tell us one thing about you that people don't really know about Doug Cormack?
About me?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I told you, only good questions from
yeah,
you.
only the good ones, right? Only the good ones. What's something? So I have an interesting hobby or a passion for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's actually on our website, so it's not too. It was like a kind of like an interesting note. But for the last 10 years, I've been training in the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And for those that aren't familiar, it's basically, it's very similar to wrestling or grappling or that sort of thing. And I've found that that's been a great outlet to me, and been very helpful. It helps, whether it's exercise or working out. It's kind of an outlet for stress, right? In some of the challenging times, and so good and bad. So yeah, so I'm approaching 42, and I'm keeping up with the young guys that are fresh out of college, and it's been a lot of fun. I was an athlete in college. I played soccer in college, and I wanted to find a way to stay athletic as I got older, and soccer is pretty tough on the knees at this age. So it's been really helpful to me, even during this period of time, during the challenging parts of our job in this field. It's been a really nice outlet to me. So I get to keep up with some young guys. They push me a little bit and have some fun at the same time. So
all right. Here's another question for you. You're on a desert island, and you can have one book, one food, and one activity. What's it going to be? Wow.
So for food, I have an addiction to peanut butter. So anything peanut butter related, I'm bringing that. A book. Gosh, trying to think. So the gentleman's name escapes my mind. Of course, you put me on the spot. It's one of the it's one of the Covey books. It's Stephen Covey's son, so I think he's a junior. And it's based off, I think it's The Speed of Trust is the name of the book.
Okay.
And that has kind of leadership, trust, all of that is very much a part of what I think is extremely important in both our personal life and our professional lives. So I'd probably bring that with me. And then what was the third one?
One activity.
One activity.
Other than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I like to work out, right? So even if I'm on an island and I'm finding, trees or something to move around, I'm going to do that. So.
All right, there you go. A Tarzan in the making, maybe, right?
There you go.
Doug, what are you most proud of, either professionally or personally?
I think so. Personally, I'm most proud of being a good father. My daughter is 7 years old, and it's always been important to me to create a balance in an industry or a field that doesn't often allow for that. Mm-hmm. So to be present for my family, but specifically, my wife and daughter. So that's something I'm very proud of, and continuing to see her grow and develop into a good human being, which is what my wife and I are hoping for, and I think we all do. So I'm certainly proud of that. Professionally, I'm proud of being one of the consistent faces in the field. So I've been with Benchmark, I'll be approaching 10 years with this organization, and almost 15 in the field with 2 providers. And so I relocated Long Island's where I started my career, took a little hiatus in Connecticut with Benchmark, and then came back to open this property. But I'm proud of being a consistent face in the field and a consistent resource for folks, and one that you see a lot of turnover. And I am proud of not being that person that's consistently turning over, because I think that you stand out in doing so, and I think it's a reflection of the organization, and many other factors. But I think I'm most proud of being consistent and being a mainstay in the industry in the field.
Well, Doug, we're just about out of time, and I wanted to thank you so much for chatting with me this morning. I don't know if that's a picture of your daughter looking over your shoulder, but yes, she could be with us as well and hear you talk about her. So listen, thank you so much for being a sponsor of SpringFest, and we're looking forward to seeing you there on May 22nd.
Excellent. It was an absolute pleasure. This was a blast. Thank you so much, Elan, and we'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye now.